In Norway, it's almost 11 o'clock, and the calendar shows Sunday, July 19th. Around 80,000 people at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey are holding their breath, and then the almost impossible happens. Norway wins the World Cup. After a 28-year wait, the country reaches the pinnacle. What happens next? Imagine Norwegian fanatics in bars across the U.S. not knowing what to do. In Norway, people pour into the streets, cheering and hugging strangers. Oslo's main street is packed within minutes. These are images from Norway's victory over Brazil in 1998. Social media is abuzz within minutes. People who have never seen a football match before are sharing posts about their win. Norway's biggest news channels quickly go on air. All the Norwegian newspapers, putting aside the sensational stories, update their headlines. In the international press, the question of how Norway won the world's biggest sporting tournament is repeated in hundreds of different ways. When France won the World Cup in 2018, approximately 300,000 people gathered on the Champs-Élysées. Germany brought together over 400,000 people at the Brandenburg Gate in 2014. In 2022, Argentina's team was greeted by a crowd so large they couldn't even pass through the streets. The players had to fly through the city by helicopter. Norway won't offer a spectacle like Buenos Aires, Paris, or Berlin, but for Norway, it will mean a similar phenomenon. The whole country will suddenly wake up to a day when everything has to stop. First, the money from FIFA, $50 million, has been transferred directly to the Norwegian Football Federation. FIFA has also allocated $355 million to clubs that release players for the World Cup. Therefore, Norwegian clubs will feel the financial impact if they have players in or around their squads. Now comes the part that everyone should pay attention to. Norwegian jerseys will quickly disappear from the shelves. When Germany won and Adidas unveiled its new 4-star version, it sold out within hours. France only released 30,000 2-star jerseys after their victory, whereas over 300,000 had already been ordered. Argentina's jerseys also sold out quickly. A jersey was selling for an average of $100 before the World Cup. In some cases, the resale prices of national team jerseys increased by 600% to 1,900% after winning. The Norway jersey will no longer be just a fan item. It will be a piece that proves Norway won the World Cup. It will be a historical collector's item. And then the players themselves. Norway already has players known worldwide, but after a World Cup victory, players virtually unknown outside of Norway will suddenly become the most sought-after names. Enzo Fernandez stood out as the best young player of the tournament at the 2022 World Cup. Weeks later, Chelsea transferred him for 121 million euros. James Rodriguez didn't win the World Cup, but the tournament brought him international fame and led to his 80 million euro transfer to Real Madrid. But that's not the most important part. What's truly important is the experience it gave us. The world is focused on Norway. Erling Haaland set a new record for most goals in the Premier League. Arsenal captain Martin Odegaard won the Premier League title. Bodo Glimt, a city of 50,000 in the Arctic Circle, qualified for the Champions League, beating Inter, Manchester City, and Atletico Madrid. National team photos went viral. Their kits stood out as some of the world's most beautifully designed. Will Norway win simply because their kit carries their flag? Yeah, they're shouting, "We'll win." The Norwegian fans' row chant was heard by millions. The world is watching them. A World Cup victory will make it hard to look away. A generation of children will grow up with the evidence. When Germany won the 2014 World Cup, the German Football Association had gained over 37,000 new members that year, more than 23,000 of whom were children under 6. Norway already has hundreds of thousands of active footballers. A World Cup victory doesn't just revive football culture, it explodes it. When children see it on screen, they'll start thinking, that could be me too. And honestly, that's already started. Even now, before Norway has even experienced a victory, national team figures are featured on many products, buses, and airport trains. Children are wearing the jersey of a footballer whose name they didn't know a few weeks ago. So if that's already the case, what will happen if Norway actually wins? Lillehammer hosted the 1994 Winter Olympics. More than 30 years later, they still bear the marks of those advertisements, their torch symbol in the forest. They have their own promotional campaigns. They even opened their own Olympic museum. During the winter, it maintains its existence as a town that has forged its own identity. While Norway is known for its fjords, skiing, oil, and salmon, it will also manage to exist as a country that has won the world's biggest sporting tournament. However, it is important not to forget a truth that every world champion experiences. The hardest part is not winning the championship. It is realizing the next day that you have reached the top and that this is where you should at least be now. 4 years after winning the championship in 2014, Germany was eliminated in the group stage for the first time, and FIFA considered this a historic setback. France won in 2018, then reached the final in 2022, but lost to Argentina on penalties after a 3-3 draw. This was the closest thing to a perfect result. But when you become world champion, it's not enough to just be good enough. Norway may experience the dark side of this. Qualifying before the World Cup title could be considered an achievement, but being eliminated in the quarterfinals after the title can be a disappointment, and the next generation will face more pressure as they grow up with stories of Norway winning. Then the question will be, when will they win again? A victory has a price, but no country has ever regretted it. A World Cup victory doesn't elevate Norway geopolitically on the world stage, but it secures a significant place in people's imaginations. First, you win a match, then you score a goal, and after that, you become a great nation that you can never underestimate.